Really
Why
is.
don't you touch on just the kind of state of pro stock motorcycle? I mean, you've been a part of that scene for quite a while, as long as I've known you, Cory. I think that was when our paths first crossed at the U.S. Nationals many moons ago. You were there racing pro stock bike, but it is an interesting world we live in when it comes to motorcycle racing in 2024. We've got Gage Herrera seemingly head and shoulders above the competition. What's your take on that? I mean, your dad probably makes a solid point that trying to build a team and develop an engine program and everything that would go into competing with a team that has such a distinct advantage at this point in time. And I'm not firing shots. I mean, it's in my opinion, likely well deserved. But is that, I mean, what do you make of that? I mean, do you think that there's something that's going to need to happen in the future for pro stock motorcycle to tighten things back up? Or what's your thoughts on the state of the deal right now?
Point blank, there needs to be some factory effort. People need to put the effort in that Vance Knights puts in. Gage Herrera's earned it. He's raced a lot of stuff. He's went through the ranks. He's good. He deserves where he's at. Do I agree with the politics, the business ethics, all that bullshit? No, yeah. I don't. But it is what it is, man. I can't change it. I like watching Gage go really fast and showing you what a motorcycle could do. For dang sure.
Oh, and he is certainly doing that. I mean, we've had a lot of conversations internally here about how to interpret the success this young man is having. 11 straight wins, besting Bob Glidden's record, which is, I think, a record many people.
That's in the motorcycle class to me.
I mean, absolutely insane to me. But I'm curious to you, do you think that it's perhaps getting less attention because it happened on a motorcycle than if it were to have happened in pro stock or funny car or Top Fuel? Like, I think that I can't imagine the pressure that we would feel at Drag Illustrated if a driver had come out and won 10 pro stock races in a row or won 10 Top Fuel races in a row. I think that, if that were happening,
Wes, if there was a pro mod car and did that, you'd be way on it.
Oh, I'd be way on it. I'd already moved this guy into my house. There's no doubt. I mean,
sure, dude. Like, absolutely. The motorcycle industry is small compared to cars all the way around the world. Any motorcycle category in any professional sport is smaller than its counterpart in the cars. It's just, it's how it goes. So I don't know. There's no knock on anything. It's just what it is.
I guess, but does it beg the question of like how, I mean, maybe that's just a natural thing that's never going to be corrected necessarily. But I guess if I'm kind of speculating how a driver might feel, someone such as yourself that has the opportunity to perhaps do one or the other or both or what have you, I mean, is that going to steer your career? Like, to me, if I had to sit down with my son or daughter and talk to them about their racing endeavors, like, no matter how passionate they were about, motorcycles or whatever, would you have to have a conversation that says, hey, if you want to achieve XYZ level of stardom or sponsorship support, you may have to consider getting into one of these other categories?
Yes and no. I think ultimately when it comes to something like that, is like, what can you afford in drag racing? Unfortunately, the motorcycle class is the cheaper one to do if you start out doing it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like what you grow into. Like Joey, for example. Joey's probably the greatest motorcycle rider, drag race motorcycle rider of all time. He's probably won in almost more than, I don't know for sure, dang, probably more than anybody in any class from ET racing to pro stock motorcycle. He's probably won a race, and if not multiple championship, multiple records. He, grudge racing, everything on motorcycle wise. He's good at that, right? So, but that's also what they could afford to get into. Joey's not necessarily just a bike guy. He's a drag racing guy. He loves drag racing. So,
for those that don't know, you're speaking, of course, of Joey Gladstone, who, when he burst onto the scene, was, in NHRA Pro Stock motorcycle phenom, absolutely. But you do. I mean, I think it's an interesting point. Like, it's a fun discussion to have, because I can imagine, a discussion with somebody that has extreme levels of talent, and clearly some promise and some ability, and going, hey, man, we may need to steer you towards this if you want to, create a career for yourself or earn a living in drag racing. However, I do think that there's a flip side to that coin, that you don't have to look around the sport of drag racing for very long to find people that are having success and selling sponsorships, racing Top Alcohol Dragster, or racing Drag Radial, or racing No Prep Kings. Like, it's not a one size fits all thing. I mean, I think there was a point in time where you had to run Top Fuel if you wanted to be even recognized as a pro level drag racer. I think over the
Oh.
course of the last few decades, it's the Mission Foods drag racing series. If you fall under that umbrella, you've made it, right, in your respective craft. But
Yeah, for
I
sure.
do, but you can, it would seem to me that it doesn't matter what you race if you're willing to put in the effort, you know, the other side of it, the developing, you know, a fan base, being active on social media, all of that stuff. I mean, it's just like two different ways to go about it.